Well, welcome to We Are Gamaliel, Passport to Power, Gamaliel's first virtual fundraiser. I'm Reverend John Welch. I'm chair of the Gamaliel Board of Directors, and I'm joined by Catoya Roberts and Gary Enrique Bradley-Lopez. And we are your hosts tonight on tonight's journey across the Gamaliel Network. Help me give a shout out to Mario Gonzalez, Gamaliel's IT manager, and tonight's digital pilot, along with his tech co-pilots, Katie Dublack, Jay Johnson, Dewan Bland, and Alex Greenwald. Throughout the night, please share your reactions and photos of yourself as you're watching our event, and you can send that to hashtag #WeAreGamaliel. If you want to be featured on the screen, drop a comment on our Facebook or YouTube streams. Throughout the evening, you can find information about investing in our work at gamaliel.org/flight. Now, here's some things I want you to be aware of. So we're going to have some prizes tonight. We're going to be auctioning some items, but also we'd like for you to invest in our work. And so there are 5 different giving levels for which you can invest. The first level for $25 to $249 is the One Gamaliel level. The next level is priority boarding level. That's from $250 to $499. And the next level is Silver Elite, which is from $500 to $999. Platinum Elite level is $1,000 to $2,499. And the Legacy level is for $2,500 or above. You'll hear more about this as we continue to journey together. And you'll see what you get at each level. We definitely have some gifts to give you to thank you for your contributions. And so what I'd like to do right now is to introduce you to our executive director, Ana Garcia Ashley, and Reverend David Bigsby, who is the chair of the Gamaliel Council of Presidents and chair of the planning committee for tonight's Passport to Power fundraiser. They will share with you a few words about the purpose and importance of this event. Listen to them now.
Thank you, Reverend Welch, and welcome again, everybody, to We Are Gamaliel, the Passport to Power. Well, Reverend Bixby, here we are. We've been in this journey, you and I, together for almost 20 years. But once you say that the last 12 months have been quite challenging, what would you say about Gamaliel during this pandemic in the last 12 months?
Well, Anna, it's a pleasure to be here and to share this time with you and all of those that have gathered. The last 12 months have really been phenomenal for the Gamaliel. Who would have thought that an organization of our type could rise to the occasion of meeting the needs of so many people? The work that we did in educating persons, preparing them for their voting responsibilities, and then being able to look beyond and recognize that our work is not complete. As a matter of fact, we're just venturing into a new arena as we work to bring about justice across the nation. And Anna, I know that you have been very, very busy. Even though you weren't supposed to be traveling as much as you did, you traveled and you made a lot of things happen in a very positive way for the Gamaliel. Why don't you tell us about some of the things you've done?
Well, I had to tell you, I'm going to give another shout out to our IT and our national staff. I did not realize that there was so many ways that virtually and online and that you can accomplish so much of the organizing. I believe that one of the most exciting thing is that we have been able to do a week-long training online. We just completed last week our Spanish week-long training online, and it was very powerful, and we are expanding our base, the leadership base, due to being able to do powerful week-long training online. But you're absolutely right, Reverend Bixby. I did not know that you can use this medium and all this platform to actually really build people's control of democracy. The virtual phone banking. I mean, I didn't know what virtual phone banking was, but we were there. Our organization participated, the people, and relational voting. That was something that was also new to a lot of us, but the leaders and the organizer took hold of that. So I do think that I've been traveling virtually like we're doing today. And thank God that we have this passport and we have such a great team to continue to organize us in this virtual world that we've been working on. But yes, we did amazing work in integrated voter engagement. We did amazing work and continue to do launching the immigration arc of action. So we have had press conferences and virtual rallies to move our immigration reform agenda. And of course, the Transformative Justice campaign have really, during the pandemic, brought to the forefront the crises in the prisons with COVID-19 and have had effective work to see the release of people who got a death sentence with the pandemic in crowded prisons. So those are some of the things that I'm really excited about and that we have worked and we really felt the support of our donors, support of our funders. And we're here tonight because you know that you and I have been talking about this with anybody who wants to hear. We want to finance our own freedom. And that doesn't mean that we don't engage our funders, but we want our grassroots to be continued to own Gamaliel. So Reverend Bixby, you are the best partner that I had in this conspiring to finance our own freedom.
Well, thank you so much. And we have been excited about the fact that in order for people to be able to fund and to help us continue this struggle to bring about justice in our communities, people have to have jobs. And one of the major focuses we've had that has been very successful is to involve ourselves with Amazon, who in our communities here in the south suburbs of Chicago opened up 5 new facilities with tremendous job opportunities. And it was kept very quiet. We had a tremendous rally, however, in the rain, virtually, on a Saturday, that brought out a lot of people and a number of our elected leaders in order to make sure that the word got out that Amazon was hiring. And so there are a number of people that have been able to acquire jobs, even in the midst of this pandemic where a job loss is more prevalent. Here in our community, job hiring and job openings are more prevalent. So I'm excited about that. Even in the midst of bad news, we had some good news.
Thank
and
you.
I know that you too have been able to engage some major funders and so forth during this time, and they have been very helpful to us in being able to continue to move forward and to make the dream that we have, the dream of a just community, more of a reality.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Reverend Welch, we're going to turn it over to you and everybody who's out there. We really want your investment. There are some fabulous things you're going to be getting for that investment. So, Reverend Welch, back to you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Reverend Bigsby. I'd like to invite tonight's co-host that I mentioned earlier to say a bit more about what you can expect on tonight's journey. So first you'll hear from Catoya Roberts. Catoya.
Thank you, Reverend Welch, and I'm glad to be here with you this evening. And hello, everyone. My name is Catoya Roberts, and currently I am the Deputy Director of Campaigns for the Advancement Project, their national office. And before starting at Advancement Project, I was Associate State Director of Wisdom, which is one of Gamaliel's statewide affiliates. Currently, I'm the president of the Gamaliel C4 board. Just to let you all know, just a little bit, in a few moments, we'll be taking off. So we'll be landing and we'll have 4 stops, which will encompass the Gamaliel as a whole across the networks. So for those of you who don't know, Gamaliel, we're a faith-based organization located in 44 different regions across 14 different states. And over the nearly 35 years of our history, Gamaliel has trained thousands of ordinary people, primarily in low-income urban neighborhoods, to really learn how to exert their power and believe and improve the lives of the folks in their community. Gamaliel has grown into a national network dedicated to building diverse and grassroots organizations within congregations. We have also looked at making sure that racial equity is at the forefront of our work. So I just want you all to know, buckle up, you're in for a treat, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Catoya. It's a pleasure joining you. Also a pleasure joining you, Reverend Welch. My name is Gary Enrique Bradley-Lopez. I'm a community organizer down here in Kansas City for More Squared, also known as Metro Organization for Racial and Economic Equity, where I have been learning and organizing strong teams to go out there and fight for issues that impact them. And so while we're doing all that, we got to remember that this exciting journey that Catoya has told us about, that we're in for a ride for, we can't forget that we're also organizing money, right? So in order to build power, we must organize people and organize money tonight. So the organizing money is critical to this fund. It's critical to this work. And so we want you to join us and partner with us. And so far, we have raised $6,500. That is amazing. It is lit. Let's get it up there. Let's get some more money up there. Let's see. Can we raise 8,000? Let's go ahead and raise 8,000 in the next couple of minutes. Someone come out there and start investing some money on us. Come and invest money in the Gamaliel Network because we got some amazing things to go out there and do, all right? So let's get prompt. So go out there and follow the link right there. Follow the link below and go in there and invest some money or go in there and buy some of these auction things. So are you all buckled up? Because I'm ready to go. Let's get it, Captain Mario. Let's head to the east.
Well, we're glad you decided to fly with us on Gamaliel Airlines. Welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, the home of the Gamaliel affiliate, Bridge, Maryland Incorporated. Bridge member congregations are located in Baltimore City and the surrounding counties, with expansions occurring along the Eastern Shore. One of the critical issues that Bridge has been working on is securing protections for minors who are interviewed or interrogated by law enforcement. Minors, I say, and particularly minors of color. They are more likely to enter false confessions when these protections are not in place. So let's hear from Reverend Marlon Tillman, one of the chairs of this campaign.
Bridge, Maryland Incorporated. Values inform legislation. After the world saw this docudrama, When They See Us, it caused a group of people in Harford County to come together and say, "Not in our neighborhood." That group of people consisted of community leaders who said, "Let's have a forum to educate our community." That forum will require organized money, and that's when Bridge Maryland stepped in to make it possible that other organizations participate. That forum would lead to a legislative bill entitled Child Interrogation Protection Act. And a coalition grew. Child Interrogation Protection Act consisted of Miranda written for children, notifying a parent or guardian immediately when their minor is in custody, and required that a minor speak with legal counsel prior to custodial interrogation. Our bill did not make it out of committee in 2020, but as you can see, our coalition grew over the summer. And we got some good advice from our new bill sponsors.
But the next part is to pester the legislators for a committee vote and to vote the right way. And that's a critical part of it.
We've been told in the advocacy committee that phone calls tend to weigh more than emails. Is that right? No. Okay.
Emails where people say, "I live in your district,
Mm-hmm.
I care about this issue, and my vote for you is contingent upon what you want." That is the best email. That is the best way in, and that does matter the most.
And so Reverend Tillman would offer a new testimony.
Next, we have Mr. Hildman. Marlon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Senator William Smith and members of the Senate Judicial Proceeding Committee. I'm speaking in favor of Senate Bill 136 with amendments submitted by the sponsor of the bill. It was former President Herbert Hoover who said that the moral test of government is how that government treats those who are in the dawn of life, their children. Thus, you are granted the power by your constituents to protect Maryland's children so that we don't have to worry and that we can have peace. We're counting on you to vote in favor of this bill with amendments by the sponsor. Thank you for my time.
Excellent. Thank you, Pastor. That was fantastic testimony. I got to tell you, I've never heard anyone quote Herbert Hoover in a hearing, but it's not Sunday, so I guess you're all right. But we'll see you. All right. So that concludes the testimony.
Values inform legislation. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Bridge, Maryland, for your important work to protect our minors and the important work that you all are doing down there. Very authentic, very real. And so Maryland's next door neighbor is Pennsylvania, which is home to Gamaliel affiliate Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, better known as PEN. And so Pittsburgh is also home, or Pennsylvania is also home to Reverend John Welch. And he sat down with Reverend Richard Freeman, president of PEN, and Ella Scales, vice president of PEN, last week to learn more about the important work that they're currently engaged in.
I'm Reverend Dr. John Welch, and I'm happy to have with me Reverend Richard Freeman, the president of the Pennsylvania Impact Network, Interfaith Impact Network, as well as Ella Scales, Ms. Ella Scales, who is the vice president of the Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network. So happy to have you all in this discussion and conversation with me. Why don't we just start off by, if you want to share with me some of the important work that PEN has been involved in as of late.
So as of late, even starting right when COVID began, and not too long after that, and we as a nation witnessed the murder of George Floyd, where an officer knelt on him for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and literally choked the breath out of him. We at PEN then not only responded in what we can do to get our voices heard, but we put on a virtual banquet named So That All Can Breathe, so that we can raise the issue of, for generations, our voices have been taken out, either through murder or through just not giving us a voice or not listening to our voice and what the needs are in our community. And so not only did we begin working on that, but as it relates to police accountability and police reform and criminal justice reform, that all of us would be treated equal under the law. And unfortunately, some of these officers still have not been brought to justice. And in that same vein, we have been working on now for almost 3 years, a Citizens Police Review Board right here in the Allegheny County area. We do have a Citizens Police Review Board in the city, and we have been working diligently to get that passed so that the police are not policing themselves, but there is some accountability from the citizens in Western Pennsylvania, particularly Allegheny County. And so as we look at that work, we understand also that it's a full circle. So we need to vote people into office that have these issues also on their mind, and will do something policy-wise to make a change. And therefore, After all of these uprisings, with Breonna Taylor being shot in her own apartment because of a no-knock law, we began figuring out what we can do to be a voice and to bring our community together in Southwestern Pennsylvania. So we, along with, endorsed, along with Alliance for Police Accountability, 2 ballot initiatives. One is to ban no-knock warrants, so that in the city of Pittsburgh, that activity would no longer be lawful. The second thing, again, locally, because we know change needs to happen not only nationally, but it needs to start at a local level. And that's where Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network really sinks our teeth in, and what we can do that's going to impact the community where we live and where we serve. And the second initiative is to solitary confinement right here at the Allegheny County Jail. And that also dovetails in the work that we have been working on, which is criminal justice reform. All of these things, voting, because in order for us to be able to make change, we need to vote. Therefore, we engaged in integrated voter engagement, and the difference between integrated voter engagement, which is what we at Penn do, and also Gamaliel, is different than get out the vote, because our goal is to build relationships in the community, build relationships with our congregations, and build relationships across the aisle, not just at voting times, but all year round, building that relationship so that when things like ballot initiatives come, we've built a relationship now with our community that we can make change happen. And so we take protests and change them into policies, not just protesting for the sake of protesting.
Pastor Freeman, you're stepping into this as a president now of Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network. What do you hope to do on the heels of this work and success?
Well, thank you, Reverend Dr. Welch. Most of the work right now that I'm trying to get my feet back into is really reshaping the argument that we have a metastatic situation, a situation. Most of you may or may not know that my history and my tent-making responsibility is that of as a chaplain. And in my work as a chaplain, I understand pretty much, have a good handle on the effects of what oncology does, cancer does. And one of the definitions of cancer is a chronic cancer. That means it's a cancer that cannot be cured, but it can be treated and it can be mitigated. My argument now is we must understand that racism is a chronic condition, like chronic cancer in our society, that we must teach unabashedly that white America is infected, but there is hope.
I like the cancer narrative, and it reminds me of scripture in Luke where it says that the evil spirit leaves a man and it goes looking for dry places, and finding that it goes back into the house and seeing that it is empty, it brings 7 other demons with it, and the condition of the person is worse than it was before. So that's the first thing that dropped in my mind when you used the metastatic and the chronic cancer metaphor for racism. So I really like that. And I like the work that Penn is doing, and excited about what you all have done and what you plan to do going forward. Any final words for the good of the order?
I think if we keep our, I think there's a documentary, Keep Our Eye on the Prize. And the prize is that there are generations to follow us. We stand on the shoulders of those who sacrificed. And we must now be the ones whose shoulders our children and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren's shoulders will stand on. Ironically, we are in what is commonly called Black History Month. I hope in 30 years from now, our grandchildren will look down the annals of history and say, you know what? Grandma Ella was in the vanguard. Grandpa Pap Freeman was in the vanguard. Pap Welch was in the vanguard. making a difference in the journey. Not that it will be cured, because I don't believe it will be cured. Jeremiah was right. The human heart above all things is deceitfully wicked, but we can make a difference. And if we stay vigilant on it, this cancer doesn't have to kill us. We can mitigate the consequences of systemic racism, and that we must do.
Amen. Sister Ella, I'll give you the last word.
And my final thoughts are that this is a labor of love. And when we as people of faith put our faith into action, as we know that faith without works is dead. And so when we put our faith into action, it must be a labor of love, understanding that we are called to love one another even as we love ourselves, and called to love one another even as Christ has loved us. And so if we do that, and if we seek to build up laws and institutions that put people first, and we see the humanity in one another, I believe that we can build that so beloved community that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about. And we at Penn seek to make that a reality, at least as much as we can in this generation.
Amen.
Amen. Full stop. Well, thank you both for taking the time to share with us. Well, Gary and Catoya, we've only had 2 stops. We've heard from 2 affiliates, and I'm charged based on what I've heard so far, the protections for kids in Bridge, Maryland, and Penn reminding us of the important work of dismantling structural racism, or making us aware, or making the country aware that racism is alive. And no better time that we see the contrast when we look back at what happened over the summer in DC with the Black Lives Matter protests in Washington, and then what happened January 6th in Washington, DC, leading up to the vote of the electorate.
And it's really interesting that you say that, because even now we look across the country and we see different bills that are being put in place around the protests and the things that happened last summer, but there's still no accountability for what happened January 6th. So when people say that structural racism and systemic racism doesn't exist, clearly
it does.
Woo, Catoya, you saying a lot right there. We starting off like that, but it's the truth, right? So essentially the systems that we have in place right now are oppressing our people in ways that are unfair, but in like a modern time, like it's happening right in our faces. And so it's sick, but they're out there doing that work. They're out there, putting in that work, and that group in Pennsylvania is putting in that work. And so I'm loving the work that we got going around the Gamaliel Nation, and I'm ready to start fighting all this structural racism.
All right, well, let's fight. And so before we continue on to hear more of the good stuff that's happening in our network, listen, our auction is going on right now. We have books we're auctioning off, 3 books from 3 of our authors within our network. And the bidding is starting at $50 for those books. In addition to that, we're also auctioning off Southwest airline tickets. We have 2 Southwest airline gift certificates valued at $250 a piece, along with Gamaliel branded travel packs. Those things are being auctioned off as well, and the bidding there is starting at $750. So let's get the biddings in, and hopefully somebody will win. I'm sure somebody will win the $500 valued travel vouchers for Southwest. We can go anywhere the Southwest travels. Also, you want to get your hands on these books that we have also available to you to auction. But here's the other thing too. So I'm calling on you all in the next 20 minutes. Can we raise an additional $5,000 in the next 20 minutes? That's 20 people donating, investing $250 roughly. And we can meet that $5,000 mark and exceed it. Can we do that? And all you have to do is go to gamaliel.org/flight. Now, we got some talent in the network, don't we?
Catoya,
we got some talent in the network. And so we're going to share some of our talent. We have a nice young organizer named DeJuan Bland, who organizes in Detroit for our affiliate, Moses, our affiliate there in Detroit. He's a spoken word artist, but he's also has a partner with him, Dufay Syriac, who's going to be, the two of them are going to be sharing their talent right now. So let's watch their video.
No verdict, no value, no one to blame but the boy. They told me I was going to be trouble for the ladies, that this face will be remembered, that this smile, these eyes will leave hearts broken, and my charm can change the world. It was a hot day 65 years ago. I, a Chicago kid with a brand new 14-year-old body, a little too much testosterone in it and way too much black skin on it, in a place where the darkies beat their feet and the black boys hang from trees in the Mississippi dirt. I choose to try my luck with a pretty little dolly and flirt, and she was to die for, and I knew my whistle would be heard, but I never knew a whistle could hurt until 3 days later they beat my face, told me a nigger must learn his place, and to make sure that I died, put a bullet between my eyes, so now I can truly see my mistakes. Blame the boy.
You know, my mother told me that I play too much. She said I had jokes to die for. It was a fall day in the town of King James, and I guess I was just a boy with too much time on my hands and too much brown in my skin, waving a gun that passes by. The call said, there's some black guy with a gun. Said it was probably fake, that I was probably juvenile, but none of that translated. The cops only heard
black and gun.
And it only took them 2 seconds to decide whether I died or not. Not even enough time for me to process what sent my soul into eternity, but
blame the boy.
With lungs too young to know true fatigue, a mother who must mourn a martyr, trying to convince this world her son was worth more than a hashtag.
Blame the boy who was told he lived in the land of the free, but paid the price for not knowing his place. Blame the boy
for being body too big. You 12-year-old giant, there's no justice for the superhuman youth.
Blame the boy whose adolescence will never shake hands with adulthood, who never got a chance to learn from his mistakes. Blame the boy
or his father, the man who failed to shape complicity in his heart, didn't shadow fear in his ear, didn't tell him that off-color humor was reserved for those who lack melanin, that dark times await those with your skin tone.
Blame the boy or his mother who had to casket her son an open book so the world can read the story of racism, of hate, of America. Blame the boy
or his mother again. Say that she's Frankenstein the criminal, say that she's unfit, untaught, but how? How does a woman learn how to bury in 1 week who she carried for 9 months?
Blame the boy, not the men who kidnap their innocence, who sees no human in these beings, who sees no fear in their eyes, who sees no sons, who sees no brothers, just black. Blame the boy.
But who even taught you that being black and young was legal, that your freedom looked anything like beavers? Didn't you know since birth you've been tethered to this court now, whether with ball or bail is the only choice given?
Blame the boy, not the jury who failed to see the fact that these boys will never kiss their mothers, failed to see that these sons will never hug their dads, failed to fight indictments but succeeded in being a jury that's not so grand. Blame the boy
for being more than allowed. Say that he ran faster, that he jumped higher, say that he took 5 shots. Speak of him anything, say that he was everything but son, but scared. Blame the boy.
Because he was strong like an ox, because he looked older than what he was, because he fought back, because he was not right or in the right neighborhood for standing his ground. Blame the boy.
Not the cops, not the judge, not the small militia of white men who ripped recognition from his face, not the crazed vigilante with a record more extensive than a boy, not the older white gentleman who couldn't handle rap music for 5 minutes at a gas station. There's no excuse. It's not like he shot up the school or the church or the concert or the movies, because then you can blame his brain. But since his crime was being colored,
blame the boy. Emmett,
Tamir,
Trayvon,
Mike, Monderick, Jordan, Sean, Oscar, Robert, Chris, Tay, Dewan, Dufay. There's no verdict.
No value. No one to blame but the boy.
Beat.
That was cold. That was some fire. That was some fire. Thank you, Dewan, Dufay, Siri. What you got, Catoya? You got some bars for us? Let me see.
Yeah, no.
All right. Well, it's all good. It's all good. Fun fact, did you know that most of the, in the past years or in the early years of Gamaliel, some of the affiliates were actually named by biblical people or places. And like the affiliate where Dewan is from, Moses, or as our executive director says, there's an old joke that this network never knew a minor prophet that they didn't love. And so there are usually like acronyms for something else. And in this case of Moses, it's actually Metropolitan Organizing Strategy Enabling Strength, or I don't know, Catoya, y'all got a lot in Wisconsin. What you got for me?
Well, I come out of MICA, which stands for Milwaukee Inner City Congregations Allied for Hope. So I can tell you, sometimes it sounds like word. Like I remember one of the organizers in a different area, they were like, it sometimes sounds like word vomit when I'm talking all of these, but it all makes sense. It all comes together at the end, right? Like we're actually people, and all of it is people powered surroundings. So,
For sure. And so, but there's also, organizations or also affiliates that have no biblical connection. So we have masks. I have 3 masks for the first 3 people on any of the platforms that you are in, for the first 3 people that can name 5 affiliates that have no biblical connections. So again, the first 3 people who put in any of the platforms that they're at, we're watching, who can put the 5 Gamaliel affiliates whose names have no biblical connections, I'm going to make sure you get a mask. We're going to make sure you get a mask. What you think, Catoya?
Yeah, and they're pretty cool. Like, these are probably the thickest masks I've come across. So I think you want one. You don't need 2 with these.
Killing.
So let's prepare for takeoff. Now that everyone is back in their seats, buckle up and let's get this plane back in the air. We are headed to the upper Midwest, where my home state is a part of it, Wisconsin. Let's go. We're headed to listen in to Ian Benstow and Ohio Rep. Michelle Lepore-Hagan about a campaign that Action is doing around preparatory land contracts.
My name is Ian Beniston, and I'm a board member of Action. I've been on the board of directors since 2017. I've been involved in Action's predatory housing work, which is really focused on the issue of lease purchase and predatory land contracts, an issue that we discovered as we started to research concerns we were hearing from a number of people in the city and broader region, and that there are a number of out-of-town companies that were buying up property in the city and then using these predatory financial products to prey upon people, particularly low-income people. One that we identified was a notorious property owner, really a slumlord, called Vision Property Management. We thought that we needed to do something about it, so Action organized a bus trip to their facility in Columbia, South Carolina. We asked them to sign a community agreement. They refused to do that. So we continued our action, visiting homes of the executives of the company and demanding that they make changes that we had outlined in our community agreement. Ultimately, we were able to get them to pay a judgment to the city, and then we continued that follow-up, and they've sold their properties in Mahoning County and in the region. We also then worked with our local city council to pass an ordinance, which I think was one of the first of its type in our region, that put in place additional requirements for people entering into land contracts. From there, we began work with State Representative Michelle Lepore-Hagan to introduce a new bill in the State General Assembly to regulate land contracts more effectively at the state level. Action organized a number of people from churches and neighborhood groups, local elected officials to go down, support the legislation that had been introduced, but to provide testimony. So we attended a hearing and provided our testimony as to why these changes were needed, and continue to work with State Representative Lepore Hagan on the issue at the state level.
I'm State Representative Michelle Lepore Hagan. I represent the 58th District. About 5 years ago, Youngstown Neighborhood Development and Action came to me to tell me about an issue that was really concerning to them. And it was the first time I had ever seen anything like this. And it had to do with the land contracts and predatory practices that were happening to people, to my constituents, and to our neighbors in our neighborhoods here in Youngstown. We want people to be able to have the opportunity to have a land contract, but when they enter into it, a lot of times there is no plumbing, the pipes have been stripped out of the house, there's lead paint peeling off of the walls, in some cases the floor is missing and you can see into the basement, so they lose all of their savings and all of the hard work in trying to fix the house, move out, the company's out of state, flip the home again, and then they make the money on the down payments. So the house gets flipped 2, 3, or 4 times. Organizations like Youngstown Neighborhood Development and Action and people in the community that know this is wrong just keep me going, and we keep their feet to the fire on this. They have to make some changes in this law. It's just been a really eye-opening experience, and I really do appreciate the people that that have really focusing on this and staying on it. It's the elected officials and the community members and the organizations, people that get involved and care and talk to their elected officials do make a difference. And that's where programs like Action is really essential.
Thank you, Action, for the incredible work that you all are doing down there. Shout out to Rev Rose Carter, who is doing great work down there. But I also want to give a shout out to my co-cohort captain, Vicky Vickers, who's down there organizing in Youngstown, Ohio for Action. So shout out to them. And so Ohio's next door neighbor or neighboring state is Michigan, which is home to 5 of the Gamaliel affiliates. And so the 5 affiliates are the Ezekiel Project in Saginaw, the Interfaith Strategy for Advocacy and Action in the Community, or also known as Isaac in Kalamazoo. Then there's Action of Greater Lansing. Then there's also Washtenaw Regional Organizing Coalition, or We Rock in Ypsilanti. And then Moses in Detroit. And so the Detroit affiliate, Moses, has been engaged in a multi-year effort to address water equity. So let's hear more about Moses leader, Reverend Keith Whitney, pastor of Sanctuary Fellowship Baptist Church, president of Moses, and then Reverend James Corrington, pastor of Mayflower UCC, vice president of Moses. Mario, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. This is Dewan Bland. I am lead organizer for Moses in Detroit. And joining me, I have 2 of our clergy leaders as well as board members, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Reverend Dr. Keith L. Whitney, president of the board here at Moses, also the pastor of Sanctuary Fellowship Baptist Church.
I am Reverend James Michael Carrington. I am the vice president of Moses and the pastor of the Mayflower Congregational United Church of Christ here in Detroit.
So we're going to talk a little bit about our water equity campaign that we've been a part of over the past few years. I'll ask Reverend Whitney to kick us off. How did Moses get started in this water equity fight?
It is my understanding that, and not just my understanding, but it is, we got started because pastors were concerned. We were concerned with the rise in water prices. And then in addition to that, the idea of charging us for water that comes out of the sky that we'd had no control over. When we got started with this, when I got started with this, I was with Reverend Carrington. We were at a meeting at Third New Hope Baptist Church. And we discovered that it was the mayor and many others who had created this drainage fee that we were dealing with. And so it got everybody's attention. There were churches that were paying, as I understand, up to $9,000 a month just in drainage fee. So again, that got us not excited, but it got us motivated to deal with this. And what I experienced with Moses was that we gathered churches, we gathered not just churches, but also people in the community who were struggling with their water and the payment for the water. So I think that for us, it was an issue of human rights. And I say that because water is a human right. It was an issue of equity, fairness, where the city was paying more than suburbs with dealing with our water situation. And again, it's economics as well, when you have persons who cannot pay. And so we got involved because we saw this as a social justice as well as a human rights issue.
Well, thank you for setting up that context for us. Reverend Carrington, throughout this process, we engaged the faith community a lot. What did you learn about power in this process, and particularly how it relates to the faith community in organizing over 300 clergy twice?
Well, as Reverend Whitney explained, this existential crisis that threatened the existence of not only our churches and our entire community surviving forced the clergy to come together. It took an existential crisis of this magnitude, the very existence of our churches being able to survive, as well as the community where our churches reside, to survive, to bring us together. And what we discovered was we had great power, number one, in coming together, power to negotiate with the political forces, the mayor, and to at least start the process of getting the mayor to negotiate and to modify the plans that allowed us time to work out how we were going to survive this existential threat that was like steroids, gentrification on steroids, that was going to just wipe out our total communities.
Thank you for that. Those are some powerful lessons to take away. I want to end with this last question. Why should people care nationally about what's happening in Detroit and Michigan with water?
I think that Texas is a great example, that they went through a storm and both power and water were in jeopardy. Detroit is really the canary in the coal mine for many things, and I think this is one area. As I mentioned earlier, water is a human right, and it is my understanding that if water can be co-opted in the city of Detroit, it can be co-opted every place. It can be overcharged every place. It can be denied every place.
So I thank you all for taking your time again, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the fundraiser.
Well, welcome back, Gary. Do you mind sharing with us who are the winners for the mask?
Yes, so we got the winners for the mask. Congratulations to the winners. We have Lori Hawkins, Erica Zamora, and Pastor Brooks. So congratulations to them for winning these masks. Can't wait to see you out there sporting them like me. Yep. And there's still places to go out there. You know, we got auctions still going out there. So invest in those auctions. There's some great books out there. Go ahead and have fun. Have some healthy competition, and let's get with it.
Let's go. Let's go. So now we are headed to my home, Wisconsin, which is home to Gamaliel's largest affiliate, Wisdom.
Okay.
Wisdom has, I believe, 12 affiliates. Yeah, they have 12.
Can you name 12 affiliates? Can you name them all?
Of course I can name them all.
Of course.
So first we have Kush, which is in Kenosha, RIC, which stands for Racine Inner City Coalition, which is in Racine, Micah, Esther, Joshua, Jonah, Naomi, Sophia, Moses, Job, and Beloit. And then we have Expo, which stands for Ex-Incarcerated People Organizing, which is one of my favorite parts of the work. For me, I've been organizing now for around 10 years, and I got my start in the Gamaliel Network, I want to say first just kind of like having conversations with one of the presidents, Micah, and then he pulled me into the work with Micah, and then I became the organizer at Micah. And I was able to really learn what it meant to build power and build people. I believe organizing is important because things aren't going to change on their own. We actually have to train and build leaders who are able to have the tools to go and create and make change within their communities. Now, I want to share with everyone, again, one of the areas that's closest to my heart, Expo. And so talk about some of the particular work they are doing back in Wisconsin. So Mario, it's on you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me, Peggy and Jerome. If you don't mind taking a few seconds and telling folks who you are and what you do and where you're from.
My name is Jerome Dillard. I am the State Director of Ex-Incarcerated People Organizing, also known as Expo, and I'm in Madison, Wisconsin.
And I am Peggy West Schroeder. I am the statewide campaign coordinator for Expo, Wisdom, and The Rock, and I am located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
So, Jerome, if you don't mind sharing with us, tell us what Expo is.
Well, Expo is an organization of and by directly impacted people. We formed our own statewide organization in 2014. Our mission statement is led by directly impacted people. Expo is committed to dismantling all systems that support mass incarceration and excessive supervision. We're dedicated to increasing just systems with policies that build healthy families and safe communities.
Thank you for that, Jerome. So when we're talking about Expo, Peggy, we cannot talk about Wisdom. So do you mind telling us how Expo and Wisdom connect with each other?
Absolutely. So Expo works with Wisdom's affiliates, each one of them. Almost all of Wisdom's affiliates have a criminal justice task force where they work on their own issues, usually something regional. And so we just provide the lived experience at the table. So at Expo, we believe that those closest to the problem are closest to the solution. And so we try to make sure that we have expos in every part of the state that are sitting and working with our affiliates to make sure that issues that they're bringing to the table are relevant and that they're helping to build an inroads to finding a solution to those problems, whether it be policy or legislatively, that we're all working together. And so we've been really grateful for all of the support that we receive from Wisdom's affiliates.
Thank you for that, Peggy. So Jerome, do you mind sharing with us what has the impact been that Expo has been able to have over the last few years with the work that they've been doing with formerly incarcerated people?
Well, we've been able to actually build our base around the campaigns that we're running, and we're having meetings all over the state with directly impacted people, which has been phenomenal in getting the word out around the actions, around what's going on in the Department of Corrections and what's going on with our state. Right now, we're gearing up for our budget hearings, and the testimony of those who are directly impacted will mean a lot in that period.
Thank you for that. So Peggy, can you tell us about the Free campaign?
Yes. So the Free campaign is the statewide, it's an affiliate actually of Expo, and we lovingly refer to it as the ladies version of Expo. So for years, while Expo worked on issues, women like myself who are directly impacted worked alongside, my brothers to get things done. And then with the wisdom of Catoya Roberts and Sarah Ferber, we decided that we really have to bring ladies to the table, because obviously women and men's incarceration is completely different. And the outcomes can be completely different as it pertains to families and future generations and things like that. So we wanted to make sure that anytime we are bringing a man to the table to share his experience with incarceration, that we're also bringing women to the table as well.
100% agree. Women have to have just as much voice as men do at the table.
Yes.
So any closing words that either one of you have? I know you have the big Unlock the Vote campaign moving right now. So anything you want to leave with folks?
Well, I want to say Unlock the Vote campaign has been something that has brought a lot of awareness to the work that Expo does, and also to the felony disenfranchisement issues in our state.
And I want to showcase the fact that even though a lot of people that are involved with Expo and most of our staff that are involved do not have our voting rights restored yet, we still are being brought into the fold and being invited to the table. Jerome meets with the governor on a regular basis. We're involved in quarterly meetings with the DOC secretary, and they invite us there knowing that, you know, the governors can't necessarily rely on us for votes, but we still have that political power because they know that we're able to activate so many people here in the state of Wisconsin. So our political power just continues to grow, and we look forward to the day that everyone in the state of Wisconsin can vote, whether you have a felony conviction and have just gotten out of prison or not.
Well, I thank you both so much, and I look forward to hearing more about the work you all are doing in Wisconsin. Thank you.
Thank you, Catoya.
Thank you.
So great work. Great work. Great work. Great interview, Catoya. You asked some really powerful questions of being able to share the work that they're doing down there. So thank you for that. And so, Reverend Welch, anything you'd like to share about what you just saw there?
I'm just excited about the work that Expo is doing, particularly highlighting the inequities that women in prison are facing. But even still, those that are formerly incarcerated, once they're released, they come out into a place where they need to have skills to be able to be reacclimated into the workforce, into the communities, and I think things are intentionally done to make it difficult for them. So I'm glad to see Expo really fighting for the rights of the formerly incarcerated.
Yeah, they're definitely doing it. And we got some powerful stuff going down there, and that's why we want to ensure that we're always funding this critical work. And we got some money announcements. We got some money. So we have so far 8,500, and we have 29 new sustainers. So come on, y'all. Come with the money. Come with the money. Come with the money. Let's get it. Yeah. All right, y'all. I think we can bump it up. Rev, what you think? How much we can get next? How much?
Look, man, I'm looking for 15. I'm looking for 15 people to drop 250. That's what I'm looking for.
15 people. All right, Reverend Welch said he wants 15 people. Drop that money. Come on, y'all. Come on. I support Reverend Welch's cause. Thank you, Reverend Welch. And so next up is Wisconsin's next door neighbor, Minnesota, home of Asamblea de Derechos Civiles. Asamblea is a community-based organization in the Twin Cities. The organization is an immigrant-led and founded not just to focus on immigration reform, but also to focus on issues that impact the lives of immigrants. In just a moment, you will hear more about their successful work in the neighboring mobile home state. Check this out, Reverend Welch. El siguiente es el vecino de Wisconsin, Minnesota, el hogar de Asamblea de Derechos Civiles. Asamblea es una organización comunitaria en las ciudades gemelas. La organización está dirigida por inmigrantes y fundada no solo para enfocarse en la reforma migratoria, sino también para enfocarse en los problemas que impactan a las vidas de los inmigrantes. En solo un momento escucharán sobre el trabajo en el parque de casas móviles en el vecindario. Mario, cuando estás listo, por favor.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Blanca Sánchez, yo soy residente del Parque de Casas Móviles Dayton, aquí en el estado de Minnesota. Soy líder de la Asamblea de Derechos Civiles, tengo un cargo de secretaria en la Asociación de Residentes de esta comunidad. Asisto a la Iglesia Católica San Esteban en una ciudad cercana a mi comunidad.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Juan Chávez y
Soy presidente de la Asociación de Dayton Park Mobile Home y líder de la Asamblea de Derechos Civiles aquí en Minnesota.
Mi nombre es Oscar Llama y soy residente de Dayton Park.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Wendy Padilla.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Padilla y soy residente de Dayton Park.
¿Y por qué estamos organizando aquí en el parque de Dayton en el estado de Minnesota?
Nosotros nos organizamos una asociación de residentes en este parque porque estamos cansados de las injusticias que se cometen contra nosotros, los residentes y latinos. Ha habido mucho aumento de renta, ha habido cobros injustificados, muchas quejas de los propios residentes y ya basta, ya estamos cansados de eso, queremos que nuestra voz sea escuchada, queremos que nuestros derechos sean válidos, que no sean pisoteados y que mejoremos en la comunidad para hacer unas comunidades más seguras para nosotros y para nuestras familias.
¿Qué se ha ganado?
Hemos ganado con la lucha que tenemos de la asociación, hemos logrado que se arreglen nuestras calles que estaban todas mal, hemos logrado que iluminen aquí la colonia, también la comunidad, y estamos buscando otros que nos hagan un shelter pequeño para que los niños, el bus los venga a recoger ahí y no estén afuera en la intemperie, y seguimos así en comunicación con los jefes, los dueños del parque para que se abrir nuevos caminos, nuevos retos para que la comunidad siga adelante y no estemos siempre abajo, que tenemos que tener nuestro nivel, siempre arriba con ellos platicando, buscando la forma de cómo seguir y buscar el bienestar de toda la comunidad.
¿Cuántas familias viven aquí?
Tenemos un aproximado de más de 250 familias viviendo en este parque, en esta comunidad. Entonces nosotros como asociación de residentes nos hemos organizado para tener una mejor comunicación con los nuevos dueños porque se han violado los derechos de nosotros, los residentes, al vender el parque y sin ser avisados con tiempo. Entonces nosotros queremos mejorar la comunicación con los nuevos dueños para traer mejoras a nuestra comunidad en las necesidades que nosotros tengamos porque tenemos poder y nosotros pagamos servicios y necesitamos que nos den un buen servicio en las áreas donde nosotros vivimos.
¿Cuánto dinero invirtieron la compañía invirtió para reparar las calles para que se mejorara el barrio?
Fueron bastantes miles de dólares que se invirtieron en esta comunidad. Fue a base de presión política como lo logramos. Entonces nosotros tenemos el poder de levantar nuestra voz y podemos hacer muchas cosas más. En años no se habían arreglado las calles estaban en muy mal estado, los autos estaban pagando las consecuencias, los propios residentes sacando dinero de su bolsa para arreglar sus propios carros. Ahora logramos eso a base de la organización entre la comunidad y la asociación de residentes y ahora tenemos unas calles que son viables para conducirlas aquí.
Ok, y entonces Minnesota sí se nota, ¿no?
Sí se nota.
Minnesota se nota.
Sí se nota.
Sí se nota.
Minnesota.
Sí se nota.
Minnesota.
Sí se nota.
Wow, it's such great work going on over there in Minnesota. Yes, yes, yes. So, what's at stake for us?
Our lives are at stake. Our freedom is at stake. Our quality of life is at stake. You know, we can't. We've been living with the corrupt policies for over 400 years, and therefore, we've seen people disenfranchised. Our education system is struggling. We can't get quality jobs, making significant income, and look at what's happening with the coronavirus. I mean, for the most part, African Americans have been the one most heavily affected by that because of our underlying health conditions. So we have to fight for better health care. We have to fight for better jobs, fight for better education, all of these things. So quality of life is at stake, if you ask me.
What are you thinking, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I everything that that Reverend Welch just said was right on. You know, there's a lot at stake. As an African American Mexican, so a biracial black skinned kid here in Kansas City, I recognize some of the challenges out there, not just here locally, but statewide and nationally. And there's some problems out there. And so there's a lot at stake for people that look like me, that look like us, that look like a lot of the people that we're organizing, right? And that's the reason why we're organizing. That's the reason why we're building power, by organizing people and by organizing money. And so we still got to organize money. We still got to go out there and do it. And so, you know, there's still things to auction on. I want to continue pushing some of the things that we got there on auctioning, because again, this money funds the work. So go out there and invest in some of these bids. There investments and bid in some of these auctions. There's some great books out there. Please go out there and invest in this work. And so
I don't know about you all, but I'm looking forward to flying somewhere once things get better in this country. I've been locked up in my house for a year. Now, you know that as soon as things get better, the prices of airline tickets are going to go through the roof. You know that, right?
Yeah. So where are you going? Shouldn't you book a flight now? Where are you going?
I'm going anywhere the Southwest flies. So I'm encouraging somebody.
Well, I'm a Delta. I don't know about. I like to fly Delta. I don't know about Southwest.
Hey, but hopefully somebody will bid on that Southwest Airlines package. Get that $500 in gift voucher, because that's $500 off your ticket price. You know what I'm saying? So,
that's a lot. Yeah, especially when they go back up.
Bid on that now. So I have the wonderful opportunity to recognize one of our significant leaders in the Gamaliel Network. I just love this brother. I've been in this network for almost 17 years, and he's been there every step of the way. In fact, he's been part of the network over 20 years. This individual was the president of the South Suburban Action Conference in the South Suburbs of Chicago. He was the president of the Council of Presidents. He was part of the head of the Gamaliel Religious Caucus. He's on the board of directors with me. He has been everywhere. He was president of Gamaliel Metro Chicago. I'm talking about none other than Reverend David Bigsby. This man believes in building leaders, and he's also a pastor of a congregation. And so, you know, he has been working tirelessly to make sure that we can train leaders, as clergy and lay, in order to be able to understand their self-interest and to find their path to power. And so I'm happy to be his friend. I'm happy to be his co-laborer in the organizing world. And so we are going to recognize his efforts, the amount of years and the work that he's put into the Gamaliel Network. We're going to recognize him by establishing the David Bigsby Leadership Development Fund. And we want to fund that at $5,000. We want to start that fund off at $5,000 so that we can have other individuals like Reverend David Bigsby come through the Gamaliel Network. And so right now you're going to hear from him as he offers his acknowledgement of being the recipient of this honoring.
I am deeply humbled by the recognition that you have shown to me. To our president of the board, Reverend Dr. John Welch, to our executive director, Anna Garcia Ashley, and to all of those that are so diligent in their work in the Gamaliel Network. I stand before you on this occasion recognizing my own frailties and weaknesses. Had it not been for all of those that were involved and supported, every organizer, every president of a local, other individuals that are a part of the Gamaliel Network, I could not have sustained for this period of time. It is a rich blessing that I enjoy, the opportunity to retire. In retirement, however, I find it still necessary for me to be involved in social justice work. Organizing has now become a part of my DNA, particularly because of so many people that have helped along the way. I can go back to our founder, Greg Galuso, and Mary Gonzalez, and then Anna Garcia Ashley, who became the very first woman to head an organization of this size and this influence. I'm thankful to her and her kindness, and their mentorship has brought me thus far. The Gamaliel is an organization that helps ordinary people do extraordinary things. I want to continue that in my retirement, working with the Gamaliel wherever I can to help people realize their abilities to be able to speak truth to power. We are living in a time now that is so interesting in that we have been able to accomplish so much in the midst of the vicissitudes and difficulties that we experience. We've come a long way, and we will go further. We have been energized by the activities that have gone on in voter registration and a number of other areas that we have worked in so diligently in providing jobs for people. And not only that, being able to train a large quantity of young people to become organizers, young people who will go on to take on responsible positions in our society. Some will become politicians, some will become business owners, but they will never forget and never abdicate their responsibility to be involved in social justice, to be involved in making our communities a better place to live, to make sure that each person can live in a society where they know they can be justly adjudicated. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing all of you. I'm excited, of course, about the persons that have been elected. They are persons that I feel very strongly about. Taking over my position will be the Reverend Edward Thompson, who's president of NOAA in Nashville. He becomes the president and chair of the Council of Presidents. His vice chair will be Leslie Kilgannon. She's president of Quad Cities and has blessed me on many occasions as we have gone along the way. Our secretary is Reverend Marlon Thiegelman, who is the past co-president of Bridge in Maryland. In the hands of these individuals, you will be able to go forward and continue to do great work. I look forward to seeing you in the trenches. God bless you and God keep you.
All right. So thank you, Reverend Bixby, for those amazing words. And again, please go out there and follow this link and help raise $5,000 to start the Rev David Bixby's Religious Leader Development Fund. So again, go out there, donate to that fund, invest in that fund to make sure that there is religious leadership development in honor of Reverend David Bixby. So thank you so much. And so I don't know about you all, but I dressed up pretty nice tonight for this event. I feel like I'm looking on fire. And so I'm going to take some pictures. I'm going to take this opportunity to take some pictures, but I also want to take some opportunity that you all take some pictures with me because I didn't look this nice for no reason. So if you go ahead and get your phone now, get your camera, and if you take a selfie with me, I did that wrong. If you take a selfie with me, and then post that on any of your social medias, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you do that and put the hashtag, what is the hashtag? If you put the hashtag We Are Gamaliel, add We Are Gamaliel, and then also tag Gamaliel. And the first 10 people who do that, I'm going to make sure I get you a mask. Look at that, on fire. So go ahead and take a picture and make sure that you go on there and add hashtag We Are Gamaliel and tag Gamaliel. Or you could also email it at info@gamaliel.org. So take your selfie because I'm looking really good for it and send it out there because we're waiting for you and we want to make sure that you get a mask. Again, the first 10 people. And then also, let's not forget, we still got the auction going and we still got some levels of investments that you can do, right? So if you do a gift level, right, of gift for investment, if you do the one Gamaliel level, that's from $25 to $249, and that comes with a Gamaliel luggage one. It comes with a Gamaliel luggage tag. Or you can do the priority boarding level, which is $200. You can invest $250 for $499, and that comes with a passport cover, a nice and fire passport cover that says Gamaliel in the front. You can also be a silver elite level, which that is invest in $500 to $999. And it comes with a Gamaliel branded portfolio cover. And so look at that. I don't know about y'all, but this is nice. This is where I'm gonna start doing all my organizing notes and supervision when I meet with my supervisor. So go out there and invest in that. You can also do the Platinum Elite level, where it's a Gamaliel branded face mask, luggage tag, a passport cover. And so again, you can invest in that. And that comes with some of the things. Or you can do the Legacy level, which comes with all of it: the mask, the luggage tag, the passport cover, the portfolio. So come out there. And this is valid until March 15th. So you can invest as many times. You can invest all that money all the way until March 15th. There's also opportunities to auction on some of these great things. So let's get with it. Let's continue doing it. Now we're close. We've raised 10,000 so far. Come on, y'all. We are raising money. We're organizing money tonight. Thank you all so much for your investment in Gamaliel. Let's keep investing. I bet we can get 1,500. I bet we can get 15,000. Come on. Let's get it, y'all. So let's up, folks, and we are on our way to the Heartland. Come through. So you all have arrived to the Heartland, home of Quad Cities Interfaith. Is this? All right, y'all. So you have arrived to the Heartland, home of Quad Cities Interfaith in the Quad Cities of Illinois and Iowa. You also are in the Heartland home of Gamaliel of Metro Chicago, Faith Coalition for Common Good in Springfield, Illinois region. You also have United Congregation for Metro East and East St. Louis, where my mentor is at. And then you have where they're also in East St. Louis. And then you have Metropolitans Congregations United in St. Louis, Missouri. And then we also have my home, Metro Organization for Racial and Economic Equity, also known as More Squared in Kansas City, in Missouri and Kansas. So watch your stuff as we deplan. What we're going to do next is we're going to go to Fiesta del Sol. It is a free 4-day family-friendly Mexican festival. Family-friendly Mexican festival in the heart of one of Chicago's most attractive communities. Organized annually by the Pilsen's Neighborhood Community Council, the oldest Gamaliel affiliate in the network. This event spans an 8-block and can be seen from miles around because of the Carnival Ferris wheel and the bright lights of over 100 booths showcasing some of the best tacos, tamales, and tostadas in town. It draws over 1 million people and has become a major economic engine for local businesses, as well as Gamaliel of Metro Chicago. Well-known artists are always up, and up-and-coming talent perform in its stages. So, Fiesta del Sol es un festival liderado por inmigrantes para toda la familia en 4 días en el corazón de una de las comunidades más atractivas de Chicago. Organizado por el Consejo Comunitario de los Vecinos de Pilsen, el afiliado más antiguo de Gamaliel en el red. Este evento es extiendo por 8 cuadros, y es un evento bien bonito con muchas cosas para celebrar la cultura hispana. Vámonos al video, por favor. Well, it seems like we're having some technical difficulties, but I don't know about you all. That food looked amazing. I saw carnitas, I saw asada, I saw tacos and tostadas. All of that looked amazing down there.
Well, sorry for the technical difficulties, but yeah, you're right, Gary. That food did look amazing. I'm ready for a taco right now. Actually, I haven't eaten dinner yet. But anyway, Gamaliel of Illinois, this past January, or January of last year, while time flies so quickly, we were in Iowa, and where we held the People's Caucus. It was a presidential debate. We had presidential candidates. We had 3 presidential candidates, 2 Democrat and one Democrat, 1 independent, and 1 Republican. And it was a wonderful time. We had hundreds of people that showed up for that. It was a cold day in Iowa, And after that event, I was flying to Columbia, South America. And so my body was in shock. Can I just say shock again? My body was in shock. But anyway, but it was on January 12th, 2020. It was my honor to moderate the People's Caucus. And it was a nonpartisan presidential candidates forum hosted by Gamaliel of Illinois and Gamaliel of Iowa, along with its local affiliate, Quad Cities Interfaith, and also was partnering with an organization called the Lane Evans Legacy Project. And so, as you know, presidential debates, they too often ignore or overlook the concerns of everyday people. But the People's Caucus provided an opportunity for candidates running for the highest office in the land to hear the voices of those who are often left out or drowned out of the political and policy discussion. So the People's Caucus provided we the people with direct access and ability to engage in conversations with these presidential candidates. There were hundreds of people who attended that day, along with formerly incarcerated people were there in attendance from Gamaliel of Illinois and Iowa, as well as leaders from across the Gamaliel network who were there to give testimony to their lived experience and demand action from candidates who were running to represent them, especially around the racist and inhumane policies and the rhetoric of the previous 3 years or the previous administration. We heard testimonies from undocumented immigrants. We heard testimonies from young people who had been incarcerated. We heard testimonies also from folks who were impacted by environmental injustice, as well as those who were receiving inadequate public education, And so the 3 presidential candidates that showed up, that attended, were former Congressman John Delaney, former Congressman Joe Walsh, and Senator Bernie Sanders. It was a fantastic event. We got press coverage from across the country, and we are proud to say that we are the only network in the country to be able to hold a forum of this magnitude with U.S. presidential candidates. And so the People's Caucus also marked the launch of a year-long effort, in spite of the pandemic, to engage voters in the issues that impacted them and urge them to take action at the ballot box. And so as you can see, Gamaliel affiliates are committed to reclaiming the people's control of the democracy. And so all the more while we're hoping that you can invest in the work that we're doing. So I hope you should have been there. I wish you could have been there on that January, but it was a wonderful time. So MCs, my co-hosts, what do you all think?
Seems like you all have been doing some serious power way before I ever even got here, and that's one of the things I love about the Gamaliel Network, and one of the reasons why I was so excited when I got hired on as an organizer, because just the great work that you all have been doing, all the affiliates have been doing, and as we will continue to do.
As we will, for sure. So, Catoya and Gary, when we talk about building power, which is what we do all the time, because we know power is organized people and organized money. And so when we talk about building power, we understand that it involves three phases. It involves building a sustainable base. It involves running successful issue campaigns that are rooted in the hearts and the minds of real and impacted people. It also involves shifting the narrative of what is possible so that people can begin to imagine things that they've never dreamed possible. In other words, the world as it should be, not the world as it is, or the beloved community, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. often referred to it. And so we have two affiliates. We have MCU out of St. Louis and Moore Square out of Kansas City that have been wildly successful at expanding their base and making it sustainable. So let's listen to and learn more about what they've been doing in St. Louis and Kansas City.
Hi, Gamaliel. I'm Reverend David Girth. I'm the Executive Director of Metropolitan Congregations United in St. Louis and the State Director for our organizations in Missouri and Kansas. We're also Moore Squared in Kansas City on both sides of the state line there. And when we do things together with both organizations, we call ourselves Gamaliel of the Heartland. We're really excited about what's been going on, even in the midst of the pandemic year, really tumultuous year in terms of racism in America and the election. And somehow we've managed to more than double the budgets of both of our organizations and more than double the size of our staff. That happened because we were really clear about what we were trying to do before this year happened. And we were delivering, we were getting things done in each community and statewide. And that meant that funders were willing to make major investments in both of our organizations. We're really excited about what that has meant for us. It also meant that we knew that we needed to look real hard at really growing and deepening the base of people who are involved in our work to honor that level of trust that was given to us and the investment that was made in us. We also knew that we needed to really stretch our hard dollar fundraising. And that meant that we needed to reach out to individual sustainers, donors, investors. So in the middle of this remarkable year, when we've experienced this growth at a time when we needed to be growing, both organizations did some kind of bold moves around fundraising and growing the base of folks who are connected and invested in the work while we were doing it. So Moore Squared, over the summer, Moore Squared conducted, in the year of COVID, conducted a banquet that actually had people in a room eating food off of a table, socially distanced. And some people bought tickets to join virtually and had food delivered to their house. So it was a virtual banquet that actually had food delivered to the house. But I didn't have to actually go to Kansas City to join the event that night. I signed on and watched, and it was a beautiful, beautiful evening because people told the story of the work of Moore Squared in Kansas City. People gave testimonies about the work that they had done and honored and celebrated individuals and groups who had been part of that work all year long before. So that fundraising event generated the most money that any banquet had ever done for Moore Squared. And you could just see the people in the event experiencing what Moore Squared's actually all about and signing up to be involved through their activity, through their involvement, and through their dollars. In the same kind of way as the summer was moving on here in St. Louis, we knew that we wanted to attract, we knew that there were individual donors and investors who really wanted to be supportive of our work. And so we went to 3 moms who we thought could be large dollar investors. And from them, we gained contributions of $20,000 and $20. For the 2020 year, we decided, let's get $20,000 and $20. Those 3 moms put together a seed that we then organized through the rest of the year, from September through the end of the year. We raised another $20,000 and $20 from folks who could put in $25 for a one-time contribution, or maybe $5 a month, or maybe $10 more on their current sustainership. And then after the election, in those crazy days, we hosted the Moms Match Sustainer event, and we had over 100 people participate. And we raised, in that 1 hour of that event, we raised $15,000. And what we heard from the moms who put in the big money and the others who put in smaller amounts, but gathered together the next 20,020, we heard that they wanted to be part of the work. Some of them would collect signatures, some of them would come to events, some of them would be in actions, and some of them knew that they were never going to do any of that. But the $5 that they sent once a month, or the $25 check, or the $20,000 that they raised, they knew was their action, their activity, their participation in us today, to working together. So we're really thrilled that in this really terrible, terrible year in so many ways, that not only have we been able to grow and increase money, increase staffing, but we've increased participation at every level, from large dollar to the $5 that you pulled, the last $5 you pulled out of your wallet. We're excited about this year. Ironically, we're excited about this.
I'm excited about this year as well. You know, I call myself a Corona organizer because I started right as the coronavirus. I saw my supervisor, Laura McDonald, for 2 days, and then boom, straight on shutdown. And, you know, I think that one thing my colleague would always say is, regardless of the times that we're in, regardless of what's happening, we still have work to do. And I think that this has provided all of us to come up with some creative ways to still build power by organizing money and organizing people. And so just tell me about your experiences just in this world of leading and organizing in the world of coronavirus.
Well, I feel like as an organizer, one, I went from traveling and on a plane majority of the time, maybe home 1-2 days a week, to now being home constantly, which is a good feeling and good thing, but it's just weird. It's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also learning how to do this virtual digital thing. I think by the end of every day and every week, all of us can say we're tired and sick of computers, right? Like, please do not open that laptop and please do not bring it to me. So, but I also believe that it has given us this time and space to reset and just think about priorities, strategize better, think about things in a longer scheme and see what we're going to do and what's up next. So,
sure.
Yeah, I think, you know, this has given us an opportunity to reflect as a network, to do some resetting and to really recast our net and see how far we can throw it and dream. I know one thing, I am tired of Zoom meetings. I've sat in so many Gamaliel Zoom meetings and non-Gamaliel Zoom meetings. Zoom ought to be paying me for all the time I'm on their platform.
I know that's right.
I agree. And it's so interesting because before quarantine, we were all begging for Zooms, right? Like, we can't meet anywhere.
Right.
We can't all get together, let's Zoom. And now I'm sick of the word.
So, you know, Gary and Catoya, you know, Gamaliel's been doing this stuff for a long time. About 35 years, actually, to be precise. And they have this solid experience of community organizing. In fact, one of the things we always brag about is former President Barack Obama was a Gamaliel organizer. So, you know, I'm always throwing that out there. It's not, you know, sometimes it gets me in the room, sometimes it doesn't, but that's all right. But we have built this network on our strengths, which include grassroots ownership, central role of religious leaders, continual innovation and incorporating impacted people or formerly incarcerated folks, a fundamental commitment to racial equity, and a solid commitment to immigration reform and criminal justice reform. And we know our training is world class. And so, but our affiliates across the network work on a wide range of issue campaigns, as you've learned throughout this evening. And as a network, our Council of Presidents has identified 2 national strategic priority issue campaigns. We work on these collectively. Our Civil Rights for Immigrants campaign, which is focused on complete inclusive immigration reform. And the other is Transformational Justice in Action, which is focused on criminal justice reform. And so joining us this evening is a young leader from Gamaliel Metro, Chicago, Deanna Perez, who is a leader in Gamaliel's Civil Rights for Immigrants campaign. And the other person joining her is a seasoned organizer out of the state of Wisconsin, David Liners, who's the executive director of Wisdom, our statewide affiliate organization in Wisconsin. He's also the staff coordinator for Gamaliel's Transformational Justice in Action campaign. And so you'll also hear from Juan Soto, who'll be doing the interview with them. So you'll need to, so pay attention to what you're going to hear. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So Mario, take it away.
My name is Juan Soto. I'm the organizing director for the Gamaliel Network. I'm happy to host this panel discussion with two of my colleagues. I want to start off with a couple of questions. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about the civil rights of immigrants and the transformational justice correlation among these campaigns as it relates to racial equity?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Diana Perez. I'm a leader of Gamaliel Civil Rights Immigration Campaign. Over the years, our immigrant community has been living in the shadows, and CRI aims for immigration rights, advocates for justice, equal opportunities, and fair treatment for immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers.
And good afternoon, Juan. My name is David Liners. I'm the coordinator for the Transformational Justice Campaign for Gamaliel. The criminal justice system, mass incarceration, has done massive damage in our country, but it's especially come down hard on communities of color, particularly the African American community, and poor people. Very much to restore some kind of racial equity in our country, we absolutely have to fix the justice system.
Thank you. So can you give us a little history of these two campaigns, the civil rights of immigrants and the transformational justice, and how it's impacted, our work?
Well, the Gamaliel Civil Rights Campaign, Immigrants Campaign, was established after the 9/11 attacks. We're talking about almost 20 years, where the network responded to this strategy, and the CRI campaign acted on developing actions with local and national affiliates to advocate for justice and equality for immigrants nationwide. Recently, last week, we just had our Spanish National week-long training, where basically empowers leaders in our community to be involved and obviously advocate for immigration rights.
Well, Gamaliel organizations around the country have been working on transformational justice for years, even decades. We've had campaigns that range from dealing with the school to prison pipeline, to dealing with sentencing reform, to dealing with post-release issues, to dealing with issues inside of prisons. In recent years, we felt the need to start to come together to also look at how we can act nationally. And we had our first real meeting where we gathered together people working on transformational justice, as well as the growing expo movement, ex-incarcerated people, people impacted directly by the system, at the 2019 Race and Power gathering. And since then, we've been meeting and we've been strategizing, first to kind of form a community of all of us around the country to get to know each other, know what we're doing, and then to start to work on what might even be some national strategies that can augment the good work going on locally.
Thank you. So what is the urgency of the moment given these trying times, and what are the opportunities to lift up these campaigns together?
Well, with the CRI campaign, right now, especially when we have a new administration and our immigrant communities, they have been waiting for years for a immigration reform to come out of the shadows and integrate to the American society. The CRI campaign is calling on the Biden administration to implement a complete inclusive immigration reform for the 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States. In addition to that, the Gamaliel Civil Rights Campaign is planning an arc of actions that will take place in the next months to get us to those right to influence and get that immigration reform that we want. Like this month, we just had our 40-day of action where each single affiliate called their congressmen and their senators to demand a complete immigration reform. In the next month, we have El Día del Niño, the Mother's Day and the Father's Day actions which basically will highlight the importance of family reunification. We'll be advocating for dreamers, for all our essential workers until we get a complete immigration reform for all. And if anyone wants to join this campaign, you could contact Juan Soto, the organizer of Gamaliel Metro Chicago.
So Juan, towards the end of 2020, the folks involved in the Transformational Justice Campaign went through some process to decide on some national priorities. And we came up with a couple of really big, audacious goals. One is to start working toward advocating for a National Justice Reinvestment Act, that we actually need the federal government to invest in basically reparations for some of the damage that's been done by mass incarceration, instead of continuing to send money to states for increased militarized law enforcement and more prisons, to actually start sending money for the things that are going to keep people out of prison and help people and communities to succeed. The other big goal is about voting rights, that actually we believe nobody should lose their voting rights ever, unless they've committed treason. But until January 6th, that was kind of theoretical. But that people shouldn't lose their voting rights. And right now, there's actually an opportunity to take a step toward that. On the federal level, the House of Representatives and the Senate are considering the Democracy Restoration Act, which would restore the right to vote to anybody who has completed their time of incarceration, even if they're still on parole or extended supervision. That would let millions of people around our country vote in federal elections, for starters. So in Wisconsin, 50,000 more people could vote in the next U.S. Senate election, which might be important. So that's something that we're actually working on very hard, and there's a real opportunity right now. If anybody'd like to get involved, they can just get in touch with me. We'll get you on the list. We've got activities every month. We would love to get more people involved. It's an exciting time.
Well, thank you very much to both of you. You're doing some tremendous work, and very important and timely work as the Gamaliel Network continues to grow and expand. And we need more leaders on the ground building more power, as you could see that we are making a difference. For those interested more around the issue work that we're doing, they could always visit our website at gamaliel.org. Thank you.
Thanks, Juan.
Well, it was great hearing about all of the work nationally that Gamaliel is doing. So when we talk about national campaigns, one of the reasons why I think they're important is because, especially coming from an organization like Gamaliel, you have a lot of the work starts on the ground locally. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about counties and cities, and then it moves to the state, and then we're talking nationally. So when you really can talk about moving a campaign that is rooted at the ground, that moves all the way up to the national level, that's pretty awesome. What are you all's thoughts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember the work of the Transportation Equity Network that Gamaliel had been working on for years. I mean, it's we're still allotted for that significant work, and being able to use federal dollars to fund apprenticeships. And we've been able to get people on highway construction jobs. I mean, the Missouri model is still the ideal model across the country. And so absolutely.
You know, I love the coalitions that are formed under these big national issues that the Gamaliel Network is leading on, right? So like the transformative justice or the CRI campaigns, those have people from across the network working together in a coalition to really just advance power and issues that takes power, that takes, you know, a coalition to get through. And so I'm just loving that coalition work that we're starting to see. And so that's power to Gamaliel. So power to Gamaliel and power to the Gamaliel Nation for all this work, for sure.
Yes, sir.
So I think we have a selfie winner, right? Who won the contest?
Who got? Then we got Blanca Vieja. Who I'm gonna get caught. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. I feel so disrespectful.
I just want you to notice I waited for you to finish the
Yeah,
name.
you wanted me to get in trouble, Blanca. I am so sorry. But Blanca, you are the winner. Congratulations. And our
And it looks
auction
like we have an additional money amount.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The additional $1,000 we raised. What's our total? I wonder what our total is now.
Yeah, what's our total?
I know we were over 10,000. $11,325 and climbing.
All right, man.
Nice.
All right. Hey, I think we can hit 15,000 if you ask me. I think we can hit 15 before the night's over. What do you think?
Definitely.
I think we
agree.
can. I think we can.
All right.
We're on our way there.
We're on our
Come
way.
on, y'all. Start bringing in that money.
Right. So next we'll hear from Caitlin Ryan Norton and Angela James. I met Caitlin's father, John Norton, when I first started National Leadership Training way back. No, it wasn't way back, but it's been a long time. But part of the reason why I am the trainer that I am today, it's because of John. John really invested in the work that I was doing, invested in me as a trainer, and I'm glad that I can actually continue to do this work and continue to be a trainer. So now let's kick it to Angela and Caitlin.
Hi, my name is Angela James, and I'm so proud to be a part of We Are Gamaliel Passport to Power. I am a member of the training department, which covers a multitude of hats. A couple of them, the national training, women's leadership and development training, and Race and Power Institute. But today I want to invite in someone who's been a part of my journey and who's welcomed Gamaliel as a part of her journey. And so she can tell you about her and her journey with Gamaliel. Katie.
Hi, my name is Katie Ryan Norton. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I am the daughter of John Norton, who was an organizer with Gamaliel Foundation from the time I was born until the time he passed away. And I currently work in the east side of St. Paul as a special education teacher at a small charter school called Community of Peace Academy.
Great. So, Katie, how did you choose education as a field, or even that specialized part of education? How did you choose that?
I chose education as a field and special education in particular because of my upbringing in organizing, really, and the justice issues that come along with special education. My dad's work with a group in New Hampshire, ABLE, really opened my eyes to some of the struggles and the fight that still is happening for people with disabilities. Education is our future. It is the power of the youth, and working with students is something that is very important to me. I sort of dreamed of going into community organizing, but I actually have 3 elders who are community organizers, and I sort of wanted to shake them off a little bit and do something a little bit different. And education seemed like a good fit for that.
Well, on our Passport to Power, this is about giving and honoring the people who do invest in Gamaliel. Why Gamaliel? Why did you choose us, other than your father worked here?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, my dad was a big factor in this, but also the way that your work connects to my values and the things that I want to support was a huge reason why I continue to support Gamaliel, especially as an educator, and the things that I witness and learn about every day about the school to prison pipeline is deeply troubling to me. And to know that there are folks in the Gamaliel network that are working to disrupt the prison industrial complex and who are doing that work every day is something that I feel really strongly in my investment going really far.
As someone who deeply invests in women and women's leadership, I'm proud to know you. I think this is and that you are an example, or you set the example of what once women have become empowered, what they go on to do. So would you have a message for any of our women out there, or any of people who would like to invest in Gamaliel?
Yes. That's a great question, Angela. Thank you for asking it. You know, I really think that one of the really valuable things that organizing can help anyone with, especially women, is the power of your own story and the voice that you can have in your community and the power that comes with that.
Wow. There you have it. I mean, that if that's not an endorsement of Intisaki that's coming up in September, and hopefully that'll be our first face-to-face. Women leading the way again. So it's September the 23rd through the 25th. Thank you, Katie, for joining us, and thank you for your investment in Gamaliel.
Thank you.
So great, great testimony and great interview there. And so I love seeing Miss Angela, because I think she was one of the hardest impacts I had, I think, or one of the biggest impacts I had during my training experience. Even though my training experience was online, I think she still was able to get to me. There was an agitation that she did to me that I've been stuck with. And so I'm trying my best to ensure that I change my behavior. But I also think the training experience is impactful for all, not just the trainees, but also the trainers, the pre-tots, the people that are advanced trainers and mentoring new trainers. There's just a whole culture there of investment with each other that I love about it, even if it is online. And so you all have went before, before my time of being online. So I'd love to hear about your all's experience or what you all think about training for sure.
Look, week-long training awakens the soul. That's what it does. And it causes you to go deep and to come to terms with who you are and to identify your better self. And that's what it did for me. I am not the person I was before I went to week-long. I'm a much stronger person. And I've been able to sit at tables that I probably would not have been able to sit at prior to going to training and being a part of the Gamaliel Network. So I was able to find my self-interest and charted out my path to power. I didn't win the mayor's race, but I shook some trees on the way.
No, that's right.
I think for me, training is extremely important. I'm also shout out Angela James. She told me once, like, a good organizer is a good trainer and a good trainer is a good organizer. So really understanding how you do, like, what do you have to go into the training room with? That means you have to do good on the ground and know how to organize and move people. So then when you go into the training room, you can touch into those experiences and touch into those examples. And so I believe that in order to be a good organizer, you really need to be foundationally good with the tools. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. So good stuff. And again, if you want to go through that experience, or you should go through that experience to test your behaviors, please go to the National Leadership Training. You can sign up to go to the National Leadership Training. The window is closing, so you have a couple days. So go ahead and sign up to go to the National Leadership Training. The next one will be from March 21st to 26th. And you can click on the link that you see on the screen, or they will be putting them in the chats going on in any of the social media sites that you are watching this platform on. So let's get to it. And I think the South is calling our name.
Boy, that was a quick flight. Well, as you can see, we've made it to the West Coast, all the way to Oakland, California. Welcome to Cali. Gamaliel of California is comprised of 4 regional organizations. We have North Bay Organizing Project, that's in Sonoma County. We have the Genesis in Alameda County. We have Fuerza Unidas in Central Valley. We have Job in San Diego County. And so Gamaliel, California, what it's been doing is been lifting up the 2 Californias narratives. And if you don't know what that means, I'm gonna tell you right now. There's 2 Californias. The one California is that the part that the tourists and folks, go to see to be entertained, the glitz of Hollywood, the beautiful coastline, Disneyland, that's the one California. The other California, though, the rest of California It's where the migrant workers are, in Central Valley, who feed the rest of the country and live at substandard levels, poverty level, as well as the huge pockets of low-income people in the cities and in the burned out areas across the state. That's the other part of California. And so, we have California's most vulnerable communities, which include Black, Latinx, Indigenous, immigrant, and other people of color, as well as intellectually and developmentally disabled communities. And so right now we're going to hear from one of the leaders from Genesis. In fact, we're going to hear from Cesar Ledema. So Mario, let's hear from Cesar.
Hello, my name is Cesar Ledesma, and I am a resident of Bay Point, California. I am newly graduate from St. Mary's College in Moraga, California, which is a member organization of Genesis, and I serve on the Genesis Leadership Council. Genesis is part of the Gamaliel of California. Our sister organization are Fuerzas Unidas of San Joaquin County, Justice Overcoming Boundaries in San Diego, North Bay Organizing Project of Sonoma County. I was born and raised here in California, and without a doubt, a few of the best parts of our state is that we have a beautiful array of diversity in our landscape and our people. However, as beautiful as our state is, the reality is that there's two Californias that most people don't know about. There are vulnerable communities out there. I'm part of that community. My single, undocumented mother lived in this country for over 25 years without having the resources for basic healthcare and transit needs. This is why I fight alongside Genesis and the Gamaliel Network. As vaccines and healthcare are available to those of privilege and wealth, immigrants in our state are suffering with no access to healthcare and certainly no access to vaccines. These are the essential workers who are picking the crops in the field as the pandemic rages on. We cannot allow this to continue. This is why Gamaliel of California is actively organizing to call for comprehensive immigration reform for our forgotten essential workers. As a global pandemic rages our communities, big oil and the airline companies receive billions of dollars in bailout. This is why we are acting to join with essential workers, people with disabilities, elders, and transit drivers to fight to save our public transit system. The school prison pipeline is free-flowing during the mandatory shelter-in-place orders. COVID did not stop the Alameda County Sheriff from large money grabs, adding to his already bloated budget. This is why we organize to invest in our youth and end youth incarceration. With all these issues as a backdrop, Gamaliel of California hired 3 new organizers across the state. We worked hard during 2020 to increase our budgets, and the future is already looking brighter. It takes organizing and training to unearth people so we can build power and make sustainable change. Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you, Genesis and Gamaliel of California. Loving the work that you all are doing down there. Now, can you all help us raise another 1,500, y'all? Come on, let's keep bringing this money in as we're starting to come to our close. Keep investing in this critical work. We love it, we need it, and we need to invest and organize money in order to have one source of power. So let's do it. So now let's move on to the South. We are building some serious statewide power down there in Tennessee. There are 3 affiliates down there. There's Chattanoogan's in Action for Love, Equality, and Benevolence, Caleb in Chattanooga. Then there's Memphis Interfaith Coalition for Action and Hope, Micah, in Memphis Metro region. And then there's Nashville Organizing for Action and Hope, also known as NOAH, in Nashville Metro region. So let's go down to the South and let's see some of the work that they're doing. So let's get with it. Looking forward to it, Mario.
We are here today to proclaim a public lamentation. Because of COVID-19, we are experiencing the ravaging effects of isolation, unemployment, evictions, poverty, sickness, and death throughout the nation and the state. It didn't have to be. but because of poor national and state leadership, we are suffering and mourning.
Well, I've seen it develop. I've seen a lot of areas develop and look really nice, but I've also seen some areas that need developing that have kind of been thrown to the wayside.
Do you have a grasp of sort of how decisions are made, or what do you know about the way decisions are made about how development happens? And this isn't a trick question. Whatever you know or don't know is fine.
Probably, mostly city council and the mayor. I'd say they're planning, planning stuff out. So I guess that's mostly how it gets made, decision gets made.
Okay. The city council people mostly listen to maybe 2 or 3 people in the neighborhood and counted them as everybody.
Do you feel like you or your neighbors have a say in the decisions made about your neighborhood, like where things are going, new things developing?
This is a good question. I would say I don't think so. I think this is actually a good initiative because if it's informing of you before a decision's made, that's smart.
When we find out something, it's already done. They haven't came to us as owners and homeowners and business owners and property owners. They haven't came to us and asked us nothing, advice or go to any meetings or any of that.
Hello, my name is Jimena Villa and I'm co-chair of the MICA Youth Council. Following conversation with Ms. Alex Smith, the Chief Human Resources Officer for the City of Memphis, the Youth Council sent a letter to Mayor Strickland on October 7, 2020, stating that the MICA Youth Council wants to be a part of the new Chief of Police hiring process.
He's put me in charge of coordinating with the MICA Youth Council to show his support for providing and agreeing to let 2 officers interview with the MICA Youth Council for the next 5 months.
Well, thank you, Tennessee. I'm excited to see they have a youth council organizing down there in MICA. Fantastic to have the young people sitting and having conversations with the local police. That's how you build relationships. That's what community-oriented policing is all about. Having the officers on the ground talking to the very people, and none other than our youth. And so coming up next, you're going to hear from Angela James again. You heard from her earlier, and she's going to be introducing the Race and Power Institute along with an invitation to our Race and Power Summit, which will take place November 8th to the 11th. That's November 8th to the 11th in Baltimore, Maryland later on this year. So hopefully you all can plan to come and join us. We are planning for an in-person gathering this year. So make sure you get your shots and you'll be COVID free and we can gather face to face in Baltimore, Maryland, November 8th to 11th. The Race and Power Institute is a new initiative that the Gamaliel Network is putting together, and it's based on our series built on the foundation of our series of Race and Power summits that we've had over the years, and towards our effort of dismantling structural racism. And so we are going to use our best tool, which is training leaders, but we're going to do it from the lens of racism and understanding racism so that we can better dismantle that structure, that institution. But we're going to use this as an internal resource for the Gamaliel Network, but also we're going to use this as a resource for others who want to know how to organize and to really address this issue, this sin, this cancer called racism. And so, like everything else, the Race and Power Institute will go through the vetting process within the Gamaliel Network, and it is our plan to launch it at the end of the year at the Race and Power Summit. So right now, listen to Angela James as she tells you more about the Race and Power Institute. Angela?
Hello, my name's Angela James. You may have already met me. In case you haven't, this is another one of the hats that I wear in Gamaliel, and that is the Race and Power Institute. Over several decades ago, Gamaliel decided that a transformation was needed from within if we were going to do transformation abroad, meaning in our communities and in our country in general. So we made a decision that race and anti-racism would be a center focus of our work. We started the Race and Power event 6 years ago, where we would have an event, a biannual event, where we would bring our top leaders together, our organizers together, and to work on race and learn about, one, how it shows up in our work, how it shows up in our organizations. We had a bigger vision. We wanted to impact the world at large, our communities at large. So we needed more than just an introduction to race or a good conversation. So we have begun to build the Race and Power Institute itself. Now, the Race and Power Institute is based on our vision of our own transformation and the work that we want to do in the community. We needed an institute to help guide us that understands organizing and understand our vision, mission, and goal and what we are trying to create. So we are creating our own institute that will include partners. We've also started to fundraise for this department. Any money that you give to Gamaliel will also benefit the Race and Power Institute. The Institute will have organizers trained to deliver our curriculum around race to internally and externally. It also will have leaders, very powerful leaders that have been a part of our work and a part of our vision for years, who can be a part of the formation of this institute. As I said before, the institute is forming, but we will do a formal rollout in November in the Baltimore, Washington area, because there are concerns, there are issues. This impact our campaigns, and we want to be able to approach the administration, approach Congress with our concerns, and our concerns show up through the powerful issues that we run and powerful campaigns that we organize within the network. So what better way than take race and power to the nation's capital with our powerful leaders and our variety of very strong organizers to really launch this institute, which we are very proud of. So when you give to Gamaliel, you're just not giving to one specific thing, but I want you to know that Race and Power and the Race and Power Institute will also be beneficiaries of that gift. And I thank you very much.
We did it. Y'all did it. Thank y'all so much for the investments. Yeah, so if I can get 10 people to share their training experience with us. So if you share your training experience and put hashtag We Are Gamaliel, share your training experience, the first 10 people, I'm going to make sure that you get a mask. You can also do that by submitting an email at info@gamaliel.org.
And it looks like people have until March 15th to invest in this work. So remember that March 15th. So if you go to Gamaliel.org, you can continue to invest up until March 15th around this particular event.
So please dig deep, invest, and be a sustainer. You know, we love the one-time gifts. Those are great. But if you become a sustainer where we can count on your investment on a monthly or annual basis, that's even more fantastic. So please contribute and invest in the work that we're doing. And go to the week-long training, as Gary mentioned earlier. It's transformative. I tell you, you'll never experience anything like it. I say that positively. It'll be the best investment you've made in your life.
Yeah. Let's keep going. I'm gonna miss y'all. I really enjoyed this. This is so fun.
Hey, you know what I wanted to tell you? So I could have read the thing on Asamblea. I was waiting for you to just spit it, man. You know, just say it off the top. You know, I know Spanish. I can read Spanish. I was expecting more from you, Gary. Come on, man. You let me down.
I want to give the people perfection, Reverend Welch. Everyone's not perfect like you and Catoya. I'm just trying to reach to y'all level.
Oh, I'm not perfect. It's a daily process.
It is a daily process. Look, love you both much.
Yes, same.
All right, y'all.
Have a great evening.
Have a great evening. Thanks for joining us on tonight.